Okay, so on page 206, I want to start this chapter with some interesting things for you to think about. You are in this amazing Technicolor beautiful time of your life. Right now, as with the age that you're in, everybody here basically between 20 and 24, 25. Okay, with the age that you are in, your hormones are basically at their best levels that they're going to be the rest of your life. That's if you choose to decondition instead of recondition, okay? If you choose to recondition every day, then you can really start to think about keeping all of those hormone levels a lot more balanced. And we talk about that in theory so much. But one of the things I want you to do is, if you have not gone to your primary care physician in a long time, many times people only go to the doctor when they're what? Sick. How about going to your doctor when you're well? And requesting a full blood panel workup. Write this down, because you have to ask for this or they won't do it. Okay? You need to not only request just cholesterol, triglycerides, HDL, LDL ratio. You need to request vitamin D levels. You need to request B12 levels. You need to request all thyroid levels. T1, T2, T3, and T4. These are things that are going to be a huge glimmer into your body. You need to know what your glucose levels are. You need to know what your insulin levels are. And here's what you need to do. Before you go and have this blood work done, okay, you need to be fasting for at least 12 hours before you do it. It would be amazing if every single one of y'all could establish some baseline numbers in your life right now. Because 5 years from now, whenever all of a sudden chaos starts breaking out in your life and you're in your first job and you've got kids and you get sick and all of this stuff goes on, you guys, it's time to know what your baseline numbers were. It really is important to know. I know that through the process of this class, with me encouraging people to go get some baseline labs drawn, it's solved a lot of mysteries to a lot of my students about why some things have been going on. You know, I had one student that she was like, Miss McKay, I don't know what to do. My hair is like falling out. I mean, and she was guy, I don't know if, it's not, you know the normal amount of hair that's in the bottom of your shower that's normal for you. Well, all of a sudden she was like, Miss McKay, I'm scared. And so come to find out, her T3 and T4, which is those thyroid hormones, had gotten out of balance. Remember how we talked about the messed up thing with omega-6s and omega-3s last week? Your ratios from T3 and T4 should be at a ratio that's normal. Hers were not, and the product of that was her hair was falling out. So all of a sudden, she changed her diet. She had become incredibly iodine deficient for some reason. Hey, where do most of us get our iodine? Fish, and where else?
Salt.
From salt. Guys, we started adding iodine to salt when we realized that so many people were iodine deficient. And that affects, where's your thyroid gland located? Right? It's like a little butterfly or a little bow tie. So that's a super important gland. You guys, just like we're seeing a lot of cases of type 2 diabetes, we're seeing many more cases of people that have hypo means high or low? Low. That have hypothyroidism, which means they're struggling with weight gain, they're struggling with low energy. It's like their metabolic clock is just not doing what it should be. And it really wasn't mattering what they were eating or how much they were exercising. They just were not managing their weight well. So that's whenever they went and they had some blood work done, and it kind of answered the problems of things. And I will say, there's also a great time to, if you don't know a lot about your family history, there's never a better time to ask about your family history. You need to know if one of your parents have thyroid disease. You need to know if your parents have different dyslipidemia. You need to know these things that are in your family tree, because you guys, 80% of them, if they're in your family tree, you can manage it with lifestyle factors. You really can, by changing so many things. Okay, on page 207, it definitely mentions that athletes definitely need vitamins and minerals. Do we believe that athletes need more than just the RDA? Yes or no?
Yes.
Absolutely we do. But again, remember, just because we think that more is better, it's not always more and more and more. So be smart about that. So when we think about the fat-soluble or lipid-soluble vitamins, there's 4 of them. What are they? Say it. Say it. Say it. Okay. Hey, A. We talked about A last week as a retinol and a beta-carotene. What did I tell you to do with that? Not only eat it, but what did I tell you to do with it?
Put it on your skin.
Put it on your skin. You guys, you got to be putting something on your skin that says retinol. You have to be putting something on your skin that says retinol. Okay? You have to be doing that. You guys, you can not only do the retinol on your skin or the retin-A, but again, the foods that you eat make a huge difference. What I like to always talk about is, I like to not only talk about, because you know me, I want you to do what? I want you to eat. Okay, look over on page 212 and let's talk about vitamin A. Now, I want you to write in your book, because there's some of these things where they're saying this is good, Ian, but these are some things that we just don't eat. Okay? What I want you to know is, these are the great sources of vitamin A. Another thing, and write this in the column of your book, you guys, vitamin A, it's not only great for your skin, it's great for your eye health. Your eyes need you to have vitamin A. Okay? Now check this out. It says liver and fish oil. Okay. Told y'all, I just can't get into eating organ meat yet. I just can't. I read more and more and more about it, how good it is for you, but I'm just not there yet. Is anyone in here a liver lover? Does anyone ever grow up eating liver or all that? I want to get there, but I'm just not yet. So one of the things that we see, and Ben just asked about taking fish oil. I will say, if you are not a fish eater, I think that taking a fish oil is a great thing to add to your supplement list. We do know that fish oil is a great antioxidant. We also know that it really helps with muscle repair. Now, here's my thing with fish oil. And again, I always want to give you tips and tricks that you can use. I enjoy eating fish. Some people do not enjoy eating fish. I try to eat fish at least twice a week. I usually have salmon once a week, and I usually have tuna once a week at least. So that's kind of how I manage to get that in, along with some of these other foods. I do not, and I haven't found a brand that I like. I don't do well taking fish oil. I've heard one of the tips that people say is keep it in the freezer so that it doesn't start to dissolve in your stomach. Hey, do you absorb nutrients in your small and large intestines or in your stomach? In your small intestines. Okay? But once that starts to dissolve in your stomach, you guys, when you burp fish oil, it is just terrible. Just telling you, it's just nasty. It is just nasty. So, I don't take fish oil. I've tried it before. People have said take it at night. But you know, what have I told y'all? Digestion is vertical or horizontal? Vertical. You guys, I end up tasting it and I just can't figure it out. So I'm sort of still on the hunt for one that maybe might be but then I'd really rather eat real food. So that's kind of how I get it. But you guys, look, I want y'all to pay attention to everything that we're about to talk about. And I want you to think about how many times the egg and the egg yolk is mentioned. Egg, crabs, halibut, whole milk products. Have I told y'all to drink whole milk? Yes? Okay. Butter, cream. Now listen, I want you to look at that word margarine, and I want you to X that out because we do not eat margarine. That is poison. Okay? Poison. You guys, look at all of those other things. Carrots, leafy greens, spinach, broccoli, squash, apricots, sweet potatoes, and cantaloupes. All of those are great food sources that really, and I get, ladies know this stuff more than guys do. You guys, you will see some of the creams that we look at to put on our faces. You might see that it says it's a retinol that's infused with cantaloupe. I mean, and all of a sudden, that's just another source of vitamin A in there. So you guys, eat real food. And you know what? As we were going through some of these vitamin deficiencies in our past, what kind of people are you? Okay. Flashback to this. Everybody show me this. Okay. If I were still eating like this, would I be telling you to eat egg yolks? No. Would I be telling you to have whole milk products? No. Would I be telling you to have butter? No. Would I be telling you to have cream?
No.
Does that make sense why we might have gotten a little bit nutrient? When we were trying to, quote, save people's health, we were really killing everybody. It's crazy that all that went down. Okay? Vitamin D. What do you know about vitamin D?
Comes from the sun.
What?
It comes from the sun.
It comes from the sun. Now, what we've realized is vitamin D is kind of tricky. We can't decide if it's a vitamin or if it's a hormone. And because our bodies can kind of generate it ourselves, some people are saying that it kind of acts like a hormone as well. Now, what we do know is just about when y'all have your vitamin D levels checked, 70% of the people in this room are going to be low. Now, I do know that I've been telling you all to start taking vitamin D, so hopefully you are not. One of the things that we do know is taking vitamin D is a great thing to do. You guys, I think we all need to take it. Remember, it's not done in milligrams, it's done in IUs, international units. I'm recommending that everyone start off with 2,000 IUs, that you're getting that in. It's an incredibly inexpensive supplement. Dylan was sharing some information with the class. Tell them, do you mind sharing what you told the class?
I started probably about a month ago taking vitamin D, magnesium, and calcium. It's all one pill. And I don't really know how to describe how I feel, but I feel a lot happier, more energized. It's good stuff, and it's fairly cheap.
Exactly. One of my favorite supplements is called CalMag-D. Okay? So again, CalMag-D, it's one of those things that kind of is an overarching thing to make happen. Now, I do take them, and I'll tell y'all some of the different supplements that I do take. And I want y'all to know I'm not a giant pill pusher. I want to eat what?
Real food.
Real food. And the only supplements that I ever recommend to anyone would be supplements that I would put in myself or put in my children. I am not going to recommend that you take anything that I would not put in my own kids. And that's my litmus test for telling people to take supplements. So that's kind of my hardcore stance on that. So when you think about vitamin D, you guys, you need to think about your bone health. Okay? Muscle strength, all of those things that come together. Okay? That's why y'all
We're asking about where to get it.
Okay? Again, everyone, we're going to talk about magnesium in a minute. Everyone thinks that potassium is the miracle. Eat a banana, you're cramping because you need magnesium. No. Okay? Or they say you need potassium. You need magnesium, not potassium. Magnesium is the winning mineral for sure. But as far as vitamin D, you guys, let's look over and jump over into where it talks about the food sources. That's what I always like to look at, and that's on page 216. All right. What we do need to know for sure is when we talk about, where's my page on vitamin D in foods? Okay, that's on page 214, excuse me. All right, here we go, fish oil again. Again, there we go. Followed by what? Eggs. Now listen, guys. Eat eggs twice a week or more. I think you should eat eggs 7 days a week, maybe. Okay, you guys? You can get a dozen eggs for 89 cents. Eat eggs. They're a beautiful source of protein. Okay? Butter, cream, halibut, herring, liver, mackerel, salmon, sardines. This is going to be one of the things I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to fall in love with sardines. Does anyone in here like sardines and can coach me up on how to love them? What? Put on a pizza. They are just so good for you. So I'm going to try to find a way and explore and share because, y'all told me that y'all tried the cottage cheese thing and it is legit. So I'm going to try to go down the sardine path for y'all because you guys, they are like, it's kind of like sushi, you guys. Sushi is, and I'm not crazy about sushi, but man, it is so good for you. It is almost like mainlining amino acids directly straight into recovering muscle. Okay? So, it's just that good for you. You guys, we got to be careful with, I wanted you to put vitamin A on your face, but what did I always want you to put on your face too? Sunscreen. Okay? So let's think about getting that vitamin D. Again, a minimum of 2,000 units. Don't go above that unless your vitamin D levels were so crazy low that your doc said. You guys, one of Cash's buddies in high school was continually having broken bones. He was just a wreck. And one of Cash's other buddies is in sports nutrition class yesterday. And so he was saying every time Mulder turned around, he had a broken bone. And so finally, I'm buddies with, Justin's mom, and I said, has anyone checked Justin's vitamin D levels? And like, well, it's baseball. They're always outside, this, that, and the other. So what I can't believe is that the orthopedic nor the pediatrician ever was like, Amy McKay. So she Lana Mulder walks in and says, can we get a vitamin D level drawn on Justin? And they're like, there's no way. They did his vitamin D levels. You guys, his vitamin D level was almost non-existent. He was on prescription strength vitamin D, 50,000 IUs twice a week for 6 months.
50,000.
Yeah, I'm recommending 2,000. They had him on 50,000 twice a week to help get his vitamin D levels back. So think about how scary this is. You're talking about a 21-year-old person that should be at the best bone mineral density of their life, but they're drastically bone mineral deficient in vitamin D. So we've got to know these numbers and make some things happen for sure. Okay? Vitamin E is another one. You guys, when you look at the sources of vitamin E on page 216, you guys, this comes back to meat, fish, nuts. Kind of a little bit of funny story about me. In all of my crazy years of thinking that this was the gospel, I was sort of inspired by a book. And I also like to challenge myself occasionally just to say I can do it. I'm sort of, don't say Miss McKay. We will not judge.
We will not judge.
Okay, and it's crazy how the tables have turned for me. I was sort of at a place where I felt like I could not get lean. I was chronically eating exactly what I was supposed to be eating. I was running 70, 80 miles a week. I was struggling. I started starving myself because that was the only way I could get skinny, and I think that skinny equals weak, and it was a mess. So I was at the library because I was a good mom that took my kids to the library. Yes? Okay. Story time at the library. That's what all good moms do. So all of a sudden they were at story time, and I was over in the nutrition book section. And I saw this book, and the title of it caught my eye, and I'll tell you why it caught my eye. You'll laugh, and it will be awesome. The name of the book was called Skinny Bitch. And I just said, I'm going to read that book. So I got that book. And that book was all about the terrible things that happen to your body when you eat fat and you eat meat. And I took it hook, line, and sinker. And you guys, I went vegetarian for almost vegan for 1 full year of my life. It was horrible. I was hangry all the time. I got my body fat percentage went up. My lean muscle mass went down. And all I wanted to do was eat and eat and eat and eat. And when we stop and think about it, that's whenever I tell you one of the primary ways that we get B12 is through meat. You guys, I started experiencing the neuropathy thing and got really scared, started doing some research on people that don't eat meat needing to have B12 supplementation. So what you eat matters. And I think that we need to be really careful and respectful. If someone's going to be vegetarian or vegan, then I am going to help them facilitate as many things. But what I need for people to know is if you're going to be vegetarian or vegan, you can't be scared of fat. Fat is important to all of us. Our neurological systems need fat. And if you've taken theory, what's the first of your body systems to arrive on the scene to create any change? Your nervous system. If we're walking around with fried nervous systems, we cannot be happy, healthy, wise, and wealthy. We have to nourish our nervous system. So the big takeaway today, number 1, eat real food. When you start looking at the deficiencies in the foods that supply all of these things, you guys, if you're allergic to eggs, don't eat them. But if you're not allergic to eggs, you get eggs in your diet. Get fish in your diet. Those are incredible ways to think about boosting up your body as you need it more and more. Okay, so on Thursday, we continue talking about some of the things with vitamins, and then we get into this thing called botanicals and metabolites. We're going to talk about caffeine and the good, the bad, and the ugly. We know it's a diuretic, but are there some benefits to caffeine too? The answer to that is yes. So, God bless you again. We're on pause for week 5, so don't freak out. And then I'll open everything back up at the end of the week for us to move forward next week.
It says on Canvas that we try to do tomorrow, so that's not.
It's like how you're okay talking about it because all the days
I won't be here on Thursday.
Still rocking. Okay?
I've been studying like.
So I just want to bring this up this time.